Welcome to Africa's first ROG arena. Woo!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this round 4 of the ATK Pro Series Gran Turismo edition. My name is Otis Page, and this time we head to Trial Mountain. And of course, none of this would be possible without our sponsors. You can see them at the bottom of your screen. And this event is powered by Mercedes, which means this one make series will be featuring the Mercedes-Benz AMG GT3, where all these drivers will try and tame the beast. Well, speaking of beast, every beast needs a beauty, and that beauty is, of course, Mr. Daniel Haynes. Daniel, welcome to the stream.
The most flattering introduction I've ever had from you, Ernest. Thank you very much for having me back. It feels like ages since I've been here. I missed round 3. I'm very sorry about that because it turned out to be a bit of a classic at Spa-Francorchamps from what I hear, and it's great to be back in Gran Turismo 7. And I'm going to need a bit of help because my knowledge of Trial Mountain, being a fictitious track, is limited to the early days of Gran Turismo, but I believe that's not going to be too much of a problem because it's changed quite a bit for Gran Turismo 7 anyway, so we'll get into that a little bit later. But yeah, the strategy is what it's all about tonight, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, the strategy, the elements that these drivers have to deal with, and there are so many. They've got tire wear, which is accelerated. They're looking forward to potentially going into the dark tonight as well. And then, of course, there's fuel sipping techniques and fuel saving techniques. And then the final stretch at the end is we will see these guys put the hammer down. And if they've managed their fuel correctly, a race to the finish like we saw at the last event. And what a last event it was. There was a 3-way battle that ensued at the end for top 3 position. Your championship leader, Stefan Marker, ended up coming way down the order while he was fighting for 3rd place. So now the championship on its head, guys like Dino, our current championship leader after winning the last event, finds himself in an interesting spot today because he's been practicing on Assetto Corsa and now is a little bit off the pace. Drivers like Levitius and others are now suddenly finding pace, and today we're going to see all of that pace come to fruition. So I do think the championship is now heading in a very interesting direction, Dan, and we're going to see that championship unfold when qualifying starts in the next couple of moments. And speaking of championship, that's what it looks like at the moment. Dino K right on top, Vincent now, as mentioned, Liam. Those 2 drivers are 2 drivers to watch, I think, for now, with Stefan Marker in 4th place. They're unfortunately losing their championship lead in the last event.
It's pretty close between all of them, isn't it? And I've learned one thing from Gran Turismo 7, never call a winner until the last lap, because you can look very silly as a commentator because you think it's going one way, and then when all the strategies come in to converge on that final lap, it's been very exciting in every round. So I'm thinking it's going to be the same again here tonight.
Exactly. Levitius over there in the mix as well, and he came 2nd at the last race. DMR Vincent, you can see him in 2nd place. He came 3rd. Super Manny did very well to come 4th the last time, and KBR, that's Rainier Simon, came 5th as well. It was a jumbled up, stacked grid at the last event, and we're going to be seeing that play out some more now. Of course, the dropped rounds is also something these drivers are going to be factoring in because they will be dropping rounds through the course of the season, and that is what it looks like as it currently stands. These are provisional dropped rounds at the moment, but so far the order stays pretty much the same, with Dino securing himself quite a healthy lead, if 8 points can be deemed healthy.
8 points in 1200. It's not exactly comfortable, is it? I think it's all up to play with what we got, round 4, 5, 6. So we got 3 more rounds to go, with basically these points represent the halfway stage of this championship, don't they?
They do, exactly. And this is why the drivers are starting to get focused in now, and you start to see that all over the Discord, where drivers are now starting to really want to make the most of all the opportunities that they've got, because it's at that point now where any mistake can cost these drivers big time, and you don't want to be making mistakes at this stage. The hot laps are now underway, and some of the drivers are making their way on their out laps, so we will be cutting to, there we go, the qualifying shortly, and this is your first hot lap over there as we see KBR, one of the KBR team members over there, going across the way with Super Manny just behind him. But we've seen this before with qualifying as well, Dan. All of a sudden, in the closing moments of qualifying, we see the grid change completely.
Yeah, it's been a sort of stalwart of the entire series, not just in Gran Turismo 7. It's been on the ACC side as well, hasn't it? That we can't call a pole sitter until right at the end of qualifying, and that probably won't be any different here. It does look fantastic, doesn't it? Watched a video earlier today to remind myself of Trial Mountain and the evolution from Gran Turismo 1, back when I probably played it, to now, and the transformation is pretty marvelous as they go through the bridge.
I mean, the details, you can see the roof of the bridge as the guys go through. You can see the crowd on top. And this over here, if you're on board with the drivers there, that light is so disruptive as you're making your way down the straight. You can really get those light bleeds into the tunnel, and now coming out the tunnel. This is one of my favorite sections over here, as you see now on board. That's what it looks like from inside the car. The light makes such a big difference through the dark tunnel, and now you come out of the tunnel into the light immediately into a hard braking zone where they will go left through, which is one of the most iconic corners on Gran Turismo, where lots and lots of sliding will no doubt take place. They set themselves up for the next complex section, heading right, then back left again. Oh, such a tricky section here, and these drivers are going to try and master this all the way through for the rest of qualifying and then straight into the race.
And Trial Mountain was always one of the sort of friendly beginner circuits, if you like, of Gran Turismo, on the basis that look how wide it is. And obviously when you first start as a complete beginner, you plant the car right in the middle of the track, and it's like, oh, this is easy. But for these guys to master it and get that absolute perfect lap time, it's not easy at all, actually, because there's hardly any runoff anywhere, and there's some nasty curbs all over the place.
And that's the key thing, isn't it? As you start getting the pace, as we watch Dino duck into the pits, as one starts getting the pace, it's when things start getting difficult. And these guys over here are going to be having their work cut out for them in the pits, as these drivers are going to be trying to getting as much advantage. Oh, look at Dino throwing it onto two wheels there. That first corner is absolutely flat out, and these drivers are going to try and keep it pinned down into the tunnel section over here. And the tunnel section, there's so many elevation changes here. As the car comes out of that tunnel section, the car gets light. You've got to set the car up again, get ready for that next right-hander, and that's what these guys are going to have to be dealing with. This is one of the circuits that does not suffer fools and doesn't like mistakes, because with any circuit where there's a left and right and a left and right turn, you make one mistake and the rest of the sequence suffers because of it.
Yeah, on this track especially, with all the walls and curbs everywhere. I'm wondering how prepared they are. I mean, obviously you think Trial Mountain is a stalwart of the Gran Turismo series, but it wasn't part of Gran Turismo Sport. It was the one game that it wasn't in. So obviously these guys are all used to Gran Turismo Sport and the previous series of ATK Pro Series. But now we're back in Gran Turismo 7, it's been reintroduced and it's been changed. The straights are a lot longer, so it's added a kilometer to the circuit, but doesn't seem to have changed the corners too drastically. So maybe they're not as prepared as we would think they would be on first glance.
Well, certainly someone that's not as prepared as he would have liked to be is DMR Dino, your championship leader. He's gone over to Assetto Corsa, and himself and Kaketsu Pilani both find themselves at the Assetto Corsa server, lining their cars up, and now they've got to compete here, Dino at least, in the Gran Turismo competition. He says he's about 1 second off the pace, his regular pace, so he's trying to find speed now. The calibration is always different when you're changing from one sim to the other, isn't it, Dan?
Yeah, definitely would think so. Obviously, the Assetto Corsa, the iRacing guys, the PC Master Race, if you like to call it, like to pride themselves on the immense physics and all the rest of it. And the physics might be a little bit more complicated than Gran Turismo, but the strategy and the way this series is set up is way more complicated than the ACC guys have to deal with. They've got 3 mandatory tires to use, which is ridiculous. They've got to use the softs, mediums, and the hards. They got 5 times fuel wear. They got 5 times tire wear. How these drivers cope with all those different combinations in strategy, I think the PC guys can learn a lot from them, to be quite honest. We don't have to deal with that. We just try and get our cars around as they are.
Yeah, fuel saving is one of the things to me that is just so difficult to do. It's always difficult to do. And these guys are absolute masters at fuel saving. There goes the Pace-sponsored driver, Supermanny, in 7th position currently. Still plenty time left in qualifying. Vincent leads us off, but you're right, Dan, there's so much more going on here. With, if you look at the rules and regulations of the series, these drivers really do have to deal with quite a lot. And as you mentioned, they're also dealing with tire wear that is unique to the sim, which means that you've actually got to learn how to manage the tires within the game.
Oh, 100%. I don't think I'd be up for it, to be honest. I'd struggle massively. There's just so many combinations, and you've almost got to try them all out. And I should imagine quite a lot of these guys have done exactly that. Is it quicker to start on the hards and go long? Is it quicker to go softs and have a real quick stint right at the start and then struggle with the hards at the end? That's what we don't know, and that's what we're going to find out, and that's what makes this entertaining to watch.
Yeah, on the power there. Another pace car. And the pace guys out in force at the moment. Many of the guys in the pits at the moment. So these drivers are now out there trying to set the fastest possible lap. Currently in 8th place. On board with 8th place man over here. And lots and lots of laps still to go. DMR Vincent with a 49 as our 8th place man heads off into the pits. And these guys are going to be wanting to obviously get as much speed as possible on the correct tire. The tire that they finish off qualifying on is the one that they go into the start of the race with.
Ah, I didn't know that. That's very interesting. So if they want to start on the hards, they got to qualify on the hards. So it'd make you think that there are going to be a lot more people going to do their short stint on the softs at the beginning of this race, because surely it's a lot quicker qualifying tire.
Yeah, the tire thing to me seems quite strange. Dan, I know you've got a little bit of insight on that. They'll be using all 3 tires, if I'm not mistaken, in this race, which is very interesting. And that means that you not only have to have your racecraft down, you also got to have your strategy down pat.
Yeah, that's what makes it so interesting, because surely the soft, medium, and hards are all going to feel quite different. Their tyre wear is going to be different as well. There's 2 mandatory pit stops to get those 3 tyres on your vehicle, so you have to do at least 2 stops. Reminding, this is not like a long endurance race, is it? We're talking a 40-minute sprint that's got 2 sprint stops in it as well. So whether you start on those hards and go on a long stint and then be really quick at the end of the race, but it's going to compromise you in qualifying, as we found out, if you've got to start that way, or you're going to start on the softs, have a short stint on the softs, and you're going to be finishing struggling on the hards and be slower at the end. So that's what's always entertaining as we come to the Gran Turismo part of the ATK Pro Series.
And the softs don't last that much longer. The softs last 5 to 6 laps. The mediums last 6 to 7 laps. And he says most will do longer stints on hards. So we're just getting some inside information from some of the drivers here. Apparently Levitius has been on a ton on this combo because he's been doing official GT races this week. So watch out for Levitius over there in 4th position. He's been in the GT races this week, so I suspect he's played with this combo and played with this strategy to maybe give him some sort of advantage going into the next phase.
Yeah, so what we can't read into in this qualifying stage too much is time, unless they're on the same tyres, aren't we? So we've got Dino now going around on the soft tyre, and that's getting him up there. He's going to be starting on the front row as it stands at the moment. Levitius, as I say that, Levitius has just launched himself on pole, so we'll have to see whether he, assuming, is also on the soft set. Possibly might be everyone on the soft, but if they've got to take the mediums and the hards, when you take those as well, isn't it? Whether you get the hards tyre out in the middle of the race, or whether you finish on it and the mediums will be quicker at the end. So it's too many combinations. That's why I said I'd be rubbish as a Gran Turismo driver.
Yeah, this is something we used to deal with it when I competed in GT competitions. You used to deal with it, but it was always this dark art. I think they've kind of tightened it up quite a bit more these days, and these drivers understand it fully now, thanks to collective learning and obviously the internet helping the guys out. We're on board now with Vincent. That's Vincent now, 2nd in the championship at the moment, 2nd on track at the moment. Dino managing to get onto 3rd now, and Levitius Liam Pisanello, who we know has been on form of late, now finds himself in 1st place, a full half a second ahead, and there goes Vincent into 1st place. And this is what we see happen every time, Dan. The guys start the deck shuffle so fast over time. Vincent there in 1st position. Levitius, it seems, still seems to say there that he's got the fastest lap, so I'm not quite sure why he's not on pole position at the moment. But DMR Vincent there in 1st place. That's Vincent now.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't help the fact they bolted a kilometre onto this circuit. So it's actually quite a long lap, isn't it? So yeah. you don't get as many quick flyers as you would have done previously. So yeah, a 150 is quite a long lap, isn't it? I mean, it's right up there, sort of getting towards the Spa sort of length.
Yeah, it's a very long lap, and this is what makes this track so difficult. There's so many complex corners on here. There's so many sections that go into one and the other, and these drivers now have to deal with that. And then you've got these two long straights, which means your approach speed going into some of the corners is going to be exceptionally difficult, and more so than before, because your speed differential that you're getting to the corner with, it's just going to be so much higher.
Exactly that, yeah, and it's also going to add another opportunity to pass, or a better opportunity to pass, isn't it? You've got a much longer drag into that heavy braking zone at the end of the straights. So maybe extending the length of this circuit in the straights is going to help in the racing as well. So we'll see whether that is the case today.
We've got a couple of people in chats. Andre Seradio joining us in chat at the moment. How are you doing, Andre? Andre, of course, one of the guys from the ATK Pro Series, but competes in a different sim to this one. But he has been quite active in the chat. So, Andre, welcome to the chat. So we look forward to you enjoying the racing with us as we now go on board with Superman. And Dino gets first place. Does Dino? DMR Dino sneaks onto the top there. DMR Dino sneaks onto the top in qualifying and finds himself right on top with SMP Pro. That's Stefan Mocker, second place. Man, and there goes Vincent now back to the top. So,
but they're changing on some medium tires now, aren't they? So, or are they trying to get a lap in on the mediums to possibly qualify on that? See, Levitius is on mediums. And is further down the rankings. Dino is definitely on the softs, as most of the people on the soft. I'm just wondering whether there's a few people that are wanting to not start on that soft tire on the basis that only lasts 5 laps maximum.
Yeah,
it's a possibility.
These guys are definitely trying to one-up each other, one after the next year. And we've only got a few more minutes left of qualifying, so now is the time to try and get those advantage. And there goes Henny as well, and Henny also doing well over the last couple of races, constantly in the mix. There is Henny, and C8S Henny, of course part of that team. Henny Mercedes, currently 6th in the championship, pulls off there, and Stefan Mocker finds himself right on top. And there is Stefan Mocker. Look at how slow that looks there, but the pace is incredible. And there is the final few seconds of qualifying, folks. Looks like Stefan Mocker might be on top. What a crazy turn of events. Stefan Mocker might be on top. Oh my goodness me. So
the whole lot just completely shuffled round at the end, isn't it?
It's like shuffled round at the end. We need to get some clarity on this. Kalen Mauer in the chats as well there, because it said fastest lap at the bottom there with Levitius. So I just want to get some clarity from our team whether or not Levitius is on pole. So Levitius is on pole with the fastest lap at the moment, and we're gonna cut straight to the race, and then we'll be able to see exactly who's in front and figure out exactly who's on pole. There is Levitius Vincent in 2nd place, Dino in 3rd, Stefan Mocker in 4th place. The lights go out and off they go. Levitius in the lead there, ladies and gentlemen, and look at the way he's pulling away so far. He's got a slight advantage over Vincent. Dino watches on in 3rd place. Stefan Mocker, your 3rd place man in championship, also 3rd place on 4th place on track at the moment. KBR right behind him, Superman behind him, and now the drivers make their way fast through the section towards the tunnel now. And just look at this overtake maneuver happening further back. Looks like 3rd, 4th place are fighting for position there. KBR gets through, and the battle's already happening further back on the circuit as they make their way through. And there goes Stefan Mocker applying for 3rd position. Does he get it? Yes, he does. 4th place, that slips down. KBR comes through, and looks like Dino's having some trouble there of his own.
Oh, nicely slotted up the inside there, wasn't it, from Stefan Mocker? And it's like a roller coaster of a circuit dealing with these elevation changes all up and down through the bumps, and they're all going through nice and safely as it stands. But what we really want to know is on who's on what tyre and when are they going to take the first of their pit stops. We're looking around lap 5 for everyone on the soft tyre, which looks like the majority.
Well, one of the problems that we've had with the series so far is that these drivers we can't really tell in the opening stages, because some of them are saving fuel, some of them are running different tires, and there's going to be some overtakes like we see now with KBR, Rainy Simon going for the overtake over there. Rainy Simon attacking Dino, and Dino facing massive pressure there from Rainier. Simon manages to hold him off, but this is what we're going to see. The speed differential, Dan, we use those terms quite often, but in the Gran Turismo version of the ATK One Make Pro series, that is where it counts the most. These drivers utilize the tires, the fuel, the strategy to make sure that they get in front, and it doesn't matter when you get in front. It's that track position that they're trying to get, secure that position, and then things change once again. They're going to the pits.
Yeah, they're only concentrating on the final lap, aren't they? These guys are not looking at their 1 lap pace. They're looking at their 40-minute pace, and they know the combination that they run that 40 minutes in the quickest. And it's ridiculous how tight they know it to the few seconds, which is just blows my mind, to be honest. But they're well aware of the strategy that they're on, and they don't let anyone hold them up.
Yeah, well said, Dan the man, well said, because that's exactly it. Oh, 9th place man going for 8th place man. You steal over there, and then that is position for 8th place and 9th. Someone's got a penalty there. Simon's got a penalty, looks like it. Rainier Simon finds himself with a penalty behind Dino. Superman slots in further back. Dino now has 1.5 seconds of respite as Superman watches on.
That's going to hurt. 1.5 seconds on this straight through these tunnels is really going to hurt as he has to let off and let that pace come back.
Yeah, that's going to hurt a lot. And as we know, there's zones where these guys can do that. And if they don't do it by a specific period, they get penalized. They have to take those penalties, and that time will come soon enough. As KBR, Rainier Simon over there, makes his way through behind Dino. Behind that is Supermanny. And further back from Supermanny is Ravi back in the mix as well. We saw some fantastic performance from Ryan Essop. The Ravaniti over there, Ryan Essop in 7th position.
Yes, we're only on lap 2. They got probably 3 more absolute flyers on the softs before we're going to see that first pit stop. But then we've got to keep an eye out, because when they come in through the pits, it will let you know where they go onto the mediums or the hards. So there's a chance of change there, isn't it? Where they can do a big long stint in the middle on the hards and finish on the slightly quicker medium, or whether they leave the hards to the end and go long last. So they'll all converge at the end, but Levitius is doing what he needs to, leading from the front.
Yeah, Yasteel over there. Yasteel sitting way down the order and not normally in this division. Now finds himself with the big boys in the pace car. They're fighting for 9th place and holding off Division 1 stalwart over there, Henny in 10th place. So Yasteel looking very good over there. Yasteel Ragubia looking very, very good out there in 9th place.
Yeah, nice to get promoted into Pool 1 and then show some pace. It's a confidence builder for you, if nothing else, isn't it? So the 3 leaders from Pool 2 get promoted into the next round, and it's a good showing.
Henny having a look there, trying a different line and going into the tight right-hander here. I've crashed into that wall there many times. And Yasteel himself having a bit of a closer look at that wall. Yeah, that wall's kind of got a magnet attached to it there, looks like.
To be fair, we're usually drifting around there.
I am.
Exactly.
Yes.
I knew it. We're not as in Gran Turismo, we're not as composed as these guys. It might not be the fastest way around, but it definitely looks better.
And here comes 3rd place man Stefan Mocker looking on at Vincent into the final long left-hander just before the complex section and the final few corners. It's going to the final sector now, and 3rd place man looking on, getting it close. Those curbs are new on the side there. Those big walls next to the rumble strips over there, as SMP Pro once again has a look through the final section now, and now they make their way towards the last tight corner, and there is where they will make their way onto the long main straight to finish another lap. Vincent in 2nd place, Liam Pesanello in 1st position, but this is Stefan Mocker, our 3rd place man in the championship, now 3rd place on track as well, and he will want to have something to say about this. Dino all the way down in 4th place, and there we see him as the first 3 make their way across the line. There comes Dino in 4th position, and now the battle for 3rd place ensues.
There's basically nothing between the front 3, is it? And especially 2nd to 3rd place. They are teammates, though, so they're going to want to help each other along. They'll have the advantage of knowing what their fellow teammate is going to do on the strategy front. So DMRE have got a big advantage there with 3 drivers working together. What they won't know is what the leader's going to do.
Well, Leviti is currently in the lead, streaming on Twitch at the moment. You want to go check him out. So he is currently in the lead, and I'm watching him now. Oh, touches the wall. He's made a mistake, has Levitius in front, and maybe a little bit of pressure now starting to get to him. I'm watching his stream over here, and he has just touched the wall in stream. So Levitius now will be trying to keep composure all the while broadcasting to the world how he is doing at the moment. He's got 16 people on his stream, so the stream looking quite popular there. And Levitius leads us off. But look at this. Look at how close they are now, Dan.
Yeah, that's super close, isn't it? He lost about 3/10 in that mistake, and the DMR guys are really hunting him down together. They're working as a pack behind in second and third place. And that's what you got to do. And it might prove very valuable towards the end of this race.
Yeah, it might prove very valuable towards the end of the race. I just watched his in-stream camera now, and he glanced into his rearview mirror.
Does he look stressed?
Oh, and he swallowed. You know when somebody just like... it just
yeah. Visual swallow on webcam.
Yeah, we've all been there. We've all been there. The tension and the stress is real, especially through that complex section over there. He's going to want to go as smoothly as possible. And now onto the main straight towards that sweeping left hand. He's going to try and get the section flat out through here. Now the gap now closing, and SMP Pro and Vincent working together to catch up to Levitius in the lead.
Yeah, so lap 5, this is where the soft runners, we're expecting lap 5 to 6 of them coming in. If they haven't managed those tyres, that might explain why they definitely look quicker, don't they? The DMRE guys, they're hunting him down. The gap is coming down, and they potentially might all be piling in the pits at the end of this lap.
Yeah. So the DMR guys, we've just heard from our producer, are using different tire strategies to make sure that they've got everything covered, and someone from their team takes the flag at the end of the race. So that's another interesting turn of events there, Dan the man. These guys are basically trying to cover all their bases, and one of them will end up in the front pack at the end of the race.
So maybe Dino being further back, then that might explain why he's not further up as we've come to expect him to be. I know he's not quite had the amount of practice he would like for this round, but he's an extremely experienced Gran Turismo driver. If he's on the hards, that'll be why, won't it? So we're seeing who comes into the pits on here, lap 5, and what tyres they take. I can almost need a notepad to try and keep a record of this. I'll see whether I can make some notes.
Yeah. I think this is the thing that's so confusing here. I've got multiple screens open. I actually scroll through the feed to try and figure out where people are. And Dan, you were just talking about SMP Pro touches the wall there. Someone's in the pits, and that is SMP Pro. So SMP Pro goes into the pits. The first of our stoppers there. Vincent in second place now. And look at how quickly he slipped down to out of contention. These drivers are so close to each other, so anything can happen. And now Ravi finds himself in 5th place with KBR pressurizing him all the way down the main straight.
Yeah, there's just no gaps between anywhere, and it all depends on where you are on that last lap. So Stefan Mocker's come in on the softs, lap 5, as we thought he would. I was expecting a couple more to follow him in. Maybe they're pushing an extra lap out of them, but he's the first one to take his first mandatory pit stop, and he'll move on to either the mediums or the hard compound.
Well, I'm looking at the championship standings, and these guys are not just fighting for position, Dan. This is all important at the moment. Ravi Rayan Esop in 8th place in the championship. He's getting pressure from Rainier Simon, who's 5th place in the championship. So these guys know all of this, and Simon gets it a little bit close to the wall there. That's a very tricky section. You can touch the dirt. There's so many lines that you can take out of here as well. But the one line that you want to make sure you get is so that you get the speed down the straight. And we see Ravi with that pace down the straight as he makes his way towards Super Manny, who also finds himself in 7th position. So these guys in the mid-pack here are literally fighting for the championship, for that mid-pack championship battle, Dan.
Yeah, and what makes this track difficult is that it's massively wide and everything, but the fastest line is running the risk of constantly rubbing against walls, curbs, anything that can, the margin there for error is quite high, isn't it? You can slow down your pace, especially on those straights. If you just go a little bit too wide, rub the wall, it's going to cost you.
Yeah, that's exactly it, Dan. That's exactly it. And it's a curb-to-curb sort of driving, isn't it? It's a wall-to-wall driving style that we see at places like the mountain panorama.
We've had a spinner.
That's Ravi. That's Ravi over there. Ravi spun out. He's fallen back now, and this is what we were talking about, Dan. He was in 5th place just moments ago.
Yeah.
And Ravi now finds himself, gets it sideways.
His tyres are cooked. Yeah, tyres are cooked, aren't they?
Tyres are cooked.
I think he must be on the softs and he'll be wanting to come in, but he's gone through pit lane again, hasn't he? He hasn't gone through the pits. He's going to do another lap, so...
No, he hasn't.
Lost it on his own, I think, there. Maybe, like we said, the margins for error on this circuit's pretty high.
So Ravi now with a loss in multiple positions. Henny moves up. Yasteel moves up as well. So some of the guys just lucking out there as one of the drivers falls off the circuit. We don't see that too often with the front runners in Gran Turismo, but certainly now. So, look at that. That's what I'm talking about, Dan. It's that curb-to-curb driving style. But with all of that said, he did manage to get a fastest sector over there.
Yeah, but Stefan Mocker's got the fastest lap of the race so far with a 150.7, and he's the only one to pit from the softs as well. So where these converge, is that enough? I really don't know. That's what makes it exciting. I have no idea how this is going to finish. You look at it and you think, well, Levitius has been pole sitter, fastest, he's leading. But then you got a fast lap of the race from Stefan Mocker, who's already on the next stage of his strategy.
So one of the conspiracy theories with this, and maybe not a conspiracy theory, I'm sure the guys can clear this out, is that the reason the setup for the in-game setup has been what it is, with the amount of tire wear and the tire changes that these guys are now forced to do, is so that things can get even more exciting, because drivers have been able to figure out the strategy so well that most of them run similar strategies, but now it seems like this one will be the most difficult one to strategize for.
Yeah, and it is. And then we've got Vincent coming to the pits on the mediums. So we got that. There you go. Got two in the pits, and they were on mediums. That'll explain why Stefan Mocker was so damn quick and also pitted on lap 5. He seems to be the only one that started this race on the softs. So we've got medium runners now. Here's the change. He'll go on to something else. So some guys are going to be very quick at this end of this race on a short flying stint on softs, I think.
Vincent topping up on fuel there as well, and eventually gets released out onto the circuit over there as Dino in 2nd place. Dino, we got an eye on Dino, because Dino himself has said, look at how close he comes to that curve there, said that he's not on the pace. He's been practicing on Assetto Corsa extensively, and I've got to say, Assetto Corsa took me ages to get pace on Assetto Corsa, because it's so different to some of the other sims, the physics, etc. So to jump between the two must be exceptionally difficult.
Yeah, it's got to be really hard. I mean, that's probably the reason why you don't have 5 times tyre wear and all of these strategy changes in Assetto Corsa, because it would be too much for your brain to handle. But Dino's trying to make that change. I think we're going to see him come in about lap 9 or possibly 10, and I reckon it's going to say he's on the hard tyre and he's going to come back into the end of this race. That's my feeling.
Yeah, we've seen this from Dino many times before, and the only person that could really threaten Dino convincingly was Kaketso, who's not here today. So Dino in a class of his own sometimes, but certainly now recently...
Levitius is in. He's on the mediums. There we go. Can make a note of that one.
Yeah, so Levitius on the mediums. Quite a few drivers on the mediums. This gives Dino the lead now. Oh, Yasteel gets it sideways right in front of Henny. Yasteel gets it sideways right in front of Henny and loses it. Henny takes the position, and Yasteel now goes into the pits as well. What a disaster there for him. And he didn't manage to lose too much time, considering all that happened. And Henny now finds himself with a top 3 position, as Levitius also in the pits. Henny gets 2nd place.
Yeah, so we got the pace car come in on hards. So he's the first one I think that I've seen so far on hards. Levitius is pitted, and it said softs is what he's changed onto. So Levitius has gone from mediums, and you can just see when he left, it switched onto softs. So he's going to be very quick in this middle stint. He's going to finish on the medium. He's going to finish on the hard tyre, is Levitius. Maybe less laps, though, if he can push this soft a little bit longer. Henny
Mercedes finds himself in 2nd place. A wonderful spot to be, I'm sure, as we now cut back to Vincent and SMP Pro Stefan Mocker now finds himself behind DMR Vincent Nell over there. And as mentioned, these guys are on the same team. So no doubt there'll be some radio communication between these two, just letting the other know what the tactic is going forward. And let's not get into too much of a wrestling match with each other. Maybe a wrestling match is the wrong analogy because that is kind of rigged. So they might be tag team partners going into this fight.
But they're not going to want to, the DMR guys, if they're on split strategies and they all know they don't want to trip each other up on strategies, do they? So if they know you're on different strategies, you get out the way and you let your teammate through, and then you know you can converge at the end to see what ultimately was the fastest. So you don't want to hold up someone that's on a fast, soft stint with your hards, do you?
No, of course not. Then this might be the case. Look at how Stefan Mocker's getting closer, but we've seen these guys nose to tail many times over. As once again,
Henny on the hards has come in. He's only got 2 liters of fuel left, so that was pretty marginal right there.
Ravi also in pits now with 9 liters left. Supermanny finds himself in 8th place. They make their way through the final sector. Maybe they'll leapfrog Ravi. Yes, they do. Supermanny now in 6th place. Henny in the pits, as you mentioned, on the hard tires. Henny also, Henny slipping down as well. Ravi on the medium tires. And here goes Supermanny now, also leapfrogging a couple of positions. So this is all over the place at the moment. There, look at this, DMR now. The fight happening. Will Stefan Mocker be led through by Vincent?
Surely.
Vincent is in 2nd place in the championship. Stefan Mocker behind him. So these guys are 2nd and 3rd in the championship and now find themselves 3rd and 4th place. Will they stay like this, line astern, in those positions, or will they swap positions for the good of the team? Time will tell.
Hopefully they're on radio comms. Dino has not pitted yet, and he has to pit now because it's a lap 10, and we've been told that you've got to do a little bit of fuel saving to get 10 laps out with the current fuel burn that we've got. So I don't really understand that as a strategy call, because we're expecting this race to be about 22 laps, and you have to run all 3 tires. So why would you do fuel saving? I don't really get it, but we'll see what Dino comes in and what tire he was on.
Yeah, I think a lot of those answers will be given at the end of the race. I'm not sure they have to run all the tires, Dan, but if they stop, I think you're able to run all the tires. I'm not sure if they actually
the Discord notice said 3 tires mandatory, so I was assuming they have to run all 3.
That's what it said. I'm not sure they have to run all 3.
I mean, they have to make 2 pit stops because of the physical limitations in fuel, so it wouldn't actually be it wouldn't be a hardship to run all 3, because you've got to come in for 2 pit stops anyway, and you start on a different tire, does it? And there you go. Dino's in, 1 liter of fuel left, so he was indeed saving, and he was on the hards, and he's moved on to the mediums.
Okay, so Dino now with 75 liters of fuel back out there, and only down to 4th place. Levitius in 1st place over there. We got Andre Sorodio in the chat saying Supermanny is killing it. Indeed, he is currently in 6th place. And Kalen Mauer says the pace is always incredible. Levitius with a solid sector time over there, leading by 10 seconds over Vincent is Levitius. And Levitius back in the lead now. The tension is real, and I'm looking at his lap times. Such consistency, heading solidly in the 151 low range. So Levitius looking very good on the straights, even time to take a sip of water as he manages his pace there, does Levitius. And watching his stream over here, very interesting stuff.
So while Dino's come in and done his first pit stop, they've come back out and they've all completed their first pit stops, and they're all as they were, aren't they? You got Levitius in 1st place, followed by the 3 DMRE guys, and it's Dino at the rear end of that in 4th place. I still don't understand why you'd want to do a long stint on the hards. Surely that's the slowest tire, and why you would do fuel saving when you have to pit twice again, anyway. So, Dino, maybe you can explain that to me after the race.
Dino gets the overtake down there quite easily, lets him through, no problem, does Stefan Mocker. And Dino, I'm sure we'll get to chat with him in the post-race interviews. So I'm sure we'll hear from him what the deal is. But Diamondino now finds himself in third place with the strategy call. Look at how close he gets to the wall, man.
Yeah, they push the limits everywhere, and there's basically walls everywhere. But Dino, now he's going through the quicker tyres up into third place, trying to track down his main man ahead in Vincent, and then see whether he can put a push on for the win of this race. I mean, you see a 10-second gap between first and second, and the PC sim racer in me thinks this race is over, but I'm pretty guaranteed it's not, as we're only halfway through.
Not by a long shot, not by a long shot. And Levitius still leads us off, but as you mentioned, Dan, that gap could shrink at any moment. We've seen it happen before. We've seen this type of incident before where things just funnel down to the final few moments, and it ain't over till it's over. So we're gonna have to wait until that fat lady starts getting the mic warmed up, because this is still a race for anybody's taking at this stage.
Yeah, got about 10 laps left and one more pit stop to go for everybody. Levitius is looking strong as it stands, and he has the fastest lap now, pushed into the 149s, has Levitius, as he's on the soft tyre. So he should be on the quickest tyre, but it doesn't seem to be much lap time difference between the compounds, does it? They've all been running roughly the same, so it's literally mostly just down to tyre wear, if anything else.
Yeah, tire wear is something that these guys will have to be able to deal with as well as possible. They don't want to cook those tires. And someone that's very good at that is Diamondino. I wonder how that's going to translate to his ACC campaign. What skills do you think will transfer well to ACC, Dan?
I don't know. I've not done enough stints in Gran Turismo to work that out. Obviously, the racecraft will translate. He's used to running in a pack tightly with other drivers. That's a skill that you can learn in any sim that will move over. I would imagine he's been having quite a lot of setup difficulty moving over to ACC though, which is a lot more complicated in the car itself. We're talking. There's so many different tweaks and changes you can do, and that's where the PC guys that have had a lot of time and practice will have a bit of an advantage. It seems like lap times can be adjusted through and set up a lot more than Gran Turismo 7, just from what I've seen. But yeah, no doubt his racecraft will transfer very nicely.
Well, I'm sure, as John Lennon said, Dino will be getting a little help from his friends to try and make the move over. Speaking of friends, Kaketsu Pelani and him are very closely connected, so that both of them have made the migration over to Assetto Corsa. But someone, the admin says, let's not try and play bumper cars here. But someone that is still here and here to stay is Levitius, the leader in first place at the moment, unchallenged at this stage. And here comes Vincent and Dino. Look at how far back SMP Pro has slipped, but Vincent and Dino, now the battle to watch. Do you think Dino's going to be let through? I think so.
Yeah, I think he's got the pace. It certainly looks like that at this stage of the race. But Levitius got 15 seconds. That 10-second gap after the pit window is grown to 15 seconds. I mean, that's a huge advantage, isn't it, when we're going into the sort of the final third of this race? Surely that a strategy can't make up that sort of game. Levitius looks strong here.
Yeah, Levitius has got just over a lap of fuel left, so he's going to go into the pits now to go fuel. We've got 15 minutes of time left on this race, so expect Levitius to duck into the pits after the next lap. He has to make it this lap. It's going to be exceptionally close. He's on the racing softs at the moment, is your leader. So Levitius on the softs, about to pit, Dan. That's all the information we have. What we do with this information, I mean, it's like giving a monkey a dictionary. It's all good for him to have it in his hand, but I don't think he's going to be writing any papers or novels anytime soon. Certainly not this monkey.
So, Levitius and Dino have basically been polar opposites on the strategy front, haven't they? Dino starting on the hards, Levitius mediums on the softs now. Will finish on the hards, we think. Dino will finish on the softs, so it'll be mightily quick at the end. Maybe that's where we're going to converge, but it just seems like Levitius has pulled quite a substantial gap at the start of this race. It's going to be a nice margin to manage even on those hard tires.
Yeah, Levitius has literally got 6%, 5% fuel left. It's going to be very close. He's coasting to he's coasting to the pit lane. Levitius is cutting it very close to the pits, and this is the battle for second place now. Dino goes down the inside. Dino takes second position, and now the hunt is on for first place man, who is limping towards the final stages of this lap to get into the pits on time. And Dino is a man on the hunt at the moment, ladies and gentlemen, as he leapfrogs his teammates, and the rest of the guys are left to fight further back. There's a couple other battles happening further back as well, we've just been told. Love to have a look at those as Dino, look at how quickly Dino gets the gap.
Yeah, he's on a man on a mission, isn't he? Levitius comes in with his soft tires, only 3 liters of fuel. I mean, that's just a lining on the inside of the tank at this point, isn't it? I'd want a little bit more comfort margin than that 3 liters, but it shows you how prepared these Gran Turismo 7 drivers are. They run those fuel limits right to the limit.
Right to the limit indeed. Levitius on the limit in the pits as we now cut to Henny in 7th place, and he's now just ahead of Yasteel Pace over there, catching up to Super Manny perhaps, 1.5 seconds either way, as Levitius gets back out onto the circuit and finds himself down in 4th position, possibly lower down the order. Let's see. Yeah, Levitius in 4th position.
So that's the problem when you pit first, isn't it? You run back out into traffic. I mean, there is a possibility that DMRE guys could back him up if they want to try and work together and give Dino an advantage. Could that happen? Could they do that? Or are they that vindictive, or are they on their own margins?
Vindictive is a strong word. But having said that, tactical, I think tactical is a more apt word, Daniel Haynes.
You just give Stefan Mocker a bit of a brick under his accelerator and get him just to slow back a bit and just see whether he can hold him up.
Well, that's well within their rights as a team. They've all made it to the top 3. So that they find the entire team now on the podium, and Levitius now has to be all alone to try and shrug off first KBR, who's behind him, and then deal with the 3 cars in front. There's your second place man, Vincent, now in second place. Dino starting to eke out the gap. Dino, just a consummate professional, such skill, pace, and clearly strategy. Even though his ultimate pace might be lacking, he's still 2 seconds ahead of second.
Stefan Mocker into the pits on hards. It says 0 liters. I mean, did he get the pit crew to help him push him down into his box?
If the other teams will jump in, those that are like at the beginning of the pit lane, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, that really is pushing it fine, isn't it? I'm not seeing a 0 come in, but it looks like a few guys are finishing on the hard. Stefan Mocker will be one of those guys. Now he's come in on the hards, he'll flip off. Levitius is... come out and clean track. He wasn't held up. He had a 5-second gap in front of him. He can just put the pedal down. And I don't think Dino's got... I think the margin's a bit big, but we'll see, because Dino come in very late, didn't he? He was on lap 10, so he's done only 6 laps on these tyres. Could effectively go to 20 and then have a splash and dash 2-lap finish where he would be mighty fast.
I think what we're going to see is Levitius going all the way to the finish. Levitius is currently on the racing hards, so we're going to see Levitius go all the way to the finish with this strategy.
For sure.
See also his setup at the moment, his fuel map is set towards power at the moment, so he's actually going for it. So he's not trying to save fuel at this stage, so he's going for pace, trying to catch up with the guys, but running pace with racing hards. So that is one of the combinations, Dan, where you run a fuel save mode with soft tires, or you could run a fuel save mode with hard tires. You could run maximum pace with hard tires, and now he's actually messing with the map over there is Levitius. So he's back on power mode now, but he did make the changes to the map to run slightly lean. So these guys are able to adjust the map while driving and somehow make those changes happen. And that changes your brake markers as well, Dan. I mean, that's not easy to do.
Yeah, you have to do it a lot in endurance racing. That is one thing that will actually, if Dino goes on to ACC, you can definitely change your fuel maps, and you do it quite a lot, especially on a longer circuit like Bathurst or Le Mans, or Nürburgring, obviously, which these guys will be going to. Can make a huge difference if you can push 1 extra lap out of it. and it works back in your pit strategies. But I'm just thinking, why would you do a long stint on the hard? Surely you'd want to be on there the least amount of time possible, but it doesn't appear like lap times are massively affected. It's mostly just tyre degradation here in Gran Turismo 7. That is something that's very different from the PC side, because the hards would be significantly slower.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we're seeing here. His fastest lap was a 149.357, and his pace is not too far off that, and he's constantly been running low 50s, 49s. So let's see what he can do now. He's just done a 50.4, looks like it. Trying to see on the screen here, just trying to see on his side how fast he's going, as we now go on board with Vincent in second place. And Vincent only 1 second behind. Look at the gap between Levitius now, the 8.6 seconds. We're going to see that gap will drop down. His gap to Mark further back is 18 seconds. So Mark out of the running at the moment, but we've still got 8 minutes and 37 seconds of racing left, folks. And now the sun starts to set, and the drivers now have to deal with darkness as well.
Yeah, the DMRE guys are quicker at this point of the race, because that gap's actually stretched Levitius 8.9, and it seems to be growing.
Yeah,
however, they've got to do a pit stop still.
There's
exactly.
a pit stop coming.
Here,
There it is.
Both coming in. Both
There
coming
it is.
in.
There's the pit stop, Dan. That's the one you were talking about. Both these guys are in now, and this is going to see our man Levitius leapfrog these guys. The pit team run frantically towards the cars. Levitius making his way through the final sector now onto the main straight. There he goes. And Levitius now finds himself in the lead, back in the lead, splash and dash for the two guys in the pits over there. And if Levitius can drive this car across the finish line,
they're going to be quick, because they're going to go onto the softs, they're going to be splash and dash, and they've got 4-lap finish here. So it's basically, can they hunt Levitius down in that amount of time? I think the gap's too much, but I've said that before, and I've been wrong. We're talking 11 seconds. Remember, it was 16 seconds. They pulled 4 off of him. I think they're going to get it down. I just think it might not be enough.
I don't think so either, but let's see. 12.1 seconds the gap now. Let's keep a close eye. Dino in the mix. Vincent right behind him. Stefan Mocker in 4th place. KBR, the first of the KBR drivers, in 5th position over there. Super Manny finds himself in 6th. Henny in 7th position. You're still in 8th place, but so far the race is still on for the top 3 over here. Look at how close Vincent now finds himself, and we're going to be looking at that gap between 2nd and 1st place, man. It's still on 12 seconds, and I'm very interested to see how things will happen now, as on the hard tire is our lead man running a full power map at this stage. No fuel saving at this stage from him, and let's see how the rest of this race goes.
Yeah, so Vincent and Dino started on different tyres, medium and hards, and then they were different tyres for the middle stint, but they're both on the softs now. So they're as fast as they're going to be in a splash and dash finish, and they're both working together to try and hunt down Levitius. Whatever happens is going to be mightily close between these two DMRE guys, Vincent and Dino.
I wonder at what stage they're going to throw the strategy out of the window and just decide, you know, we're going to go for this thing all out.
Well, right now, there's no more pit stops, there's no more strategy. They're on the softs, they're on a flyer. These two are absolutely hammering along, and Levitius is on the hards and he's trying to manage the gap. The gap's come down. It's 11.3, and it is slowly ticking down all the time, but we've only got 4 laps to go. I mean, that's all he's got to do is manage it, and I think Levitius has been strong all night.
Well, what I'm talking about specifically, Dan, at this stage is the championship title between Vincent and Dino. Dino finds himself in 1st place in the championship. Vincent finds himself in 2nd place in the championship. If they end off like this, we could see a situation where Vincent leapfrogs Dino for that championship lead. We'll have to have a look at those dropped rounds and all the other fancy calculations. But will Vincent let Dino go past team orders wise? But there we see Vincent just set his best sector time. So Vincent is putting the hammer down and not trying to wait for Dino at this stage.
So they're teammates, but we don't know whether they're mates. So is it like a Hamilton-Rosberg situation where it's like we're teammates, but you're not coming through? Or we're a bit more Ferrari, we're teammates, and Dino, yeah, you get the points because you're trying to keep that 1st place win. But I mean, they want to finish in the top 3. That's, I think, the ultimate goal, because they I know Dino especially has said to me several times that he's desperate to get to ATK Arena for that final. So that's why he's been practicing in ACC to do just that. So finishing in the top 3 is the main goal for both of these, and they want to work down. Look at the gap, 9.4 seconds now. It's coming down quick. It's just not coming down fast enough for me.
Yeah, they've only got 4 minutes of racing left, and I'm looking at the strategy for Levitius at this stage. Still running flat out, still running the power map. And he's got quite a bit of fuel left. The tires are still very good in his car. He's got 4 minutes to go. So that's about 2.5 laps.
Sorry, Ernest, it just amazes me how quick that gap comes down. Like, it's half a second sort of just gone in a sort of less than a third of a lap. So it was 16 seconds. Half of it's gone. It's 8.5. It's always so close at the end. And I'm always surprised. And I think I'm going to be again.
We're on board now with Vincent. He is doing 48s at the moment, so he is flying right now. Is DMR Vincent certainly the fastest out there now? He's got the fastest lap as well, and DMR Vincent is doing 48s with 3.5 minutes to go. The gap now down to 7.9 seconds,
sure.
8 seconds thereabouts, and could we see a grandstand finish with Vincent? I'm on board now with Levitius to try and see what lap time he's going to do next to respond, but we've seen the best lap, I apologize, from Vincent now at this stage, and he is a man on a charge right now.
He's absolutely flying, and Dino's got nothing. He can't keep with him, can he? So now the gap's coming down, and it's coming down at over 2 seconds a lap, almost 3 seconds a lap, I should imagine. If you've got Levitius' stream up, just keep an eye on what his next lap was. Yeah. But 1:48.7 is massive, and we've got 2 laps to go, I think. 2 laps to go. It needs to come down at 3.54 seconds a lap. I just cannot believe how quick this gap's coming down. 6.7 seconds right now.
Well, we know that Vincent and his team are very good at exactly this, playing the hunter. What we don't know is how good Levitius is at playing the hunted. The lap times are tumbling for his opposition at this stage, and Vincent with a 1:48.7, the fastest time so far. Here comes Levitius now to the finish line as we cut to Henny on screen. Then we'll get you that lap time for Levitius now, Dan. He's making his way towards the finish line, 48.7, and he gets a 51.4. So he's on a 51.4, so that's about 3 seconds a lap, as you rightly pointed out, Dan. 2 laps to go. We're looking at a photo finish at this stage.
I eat my words every time, and I told myself at the start of the stream, don't pick a winner, and you I just can't up. You just think, no, 16 seconds is massive, and I get proved wrong every time. So we're down under 6 seconds, and this has got the penultimate lap here. We're thinking they'll finish here on lap 22. So 3 seconds will be enough for these guys to literally cross the line together.
This is like one of those situations, you know, when you've got like a road car versus Formula One car and they start them off in a staggered start. This is kind of one of those things, and it's a rabbit versus hare versus tortoise situation at this stage. Levitius unfortunately finds himself with the slowest Mercedes AMG GT3 out there. If you can call an AMG GT3 a slow car, he finds himself out there with the slowest version. But the gap now 5.5 seconds. It doesn't look like Vincent has been able to take that much off on this lap, but maybe most of it happens in the complex section over here. And now the gap down to 4.9 seconds as we head into the final sector. This is going to be very close, Dad. They're going to have to do one more lap.
I mean, Levitius is consistent. He's been posting exactly around that mid 151 mark as we were looking at his lap times when we were on board with him. But it's just Vincent's so damn quick on those softs.
Yeah, Dino has let Stefan Mocker through, so Dino also now slowing down a little bit, but someone that hasn't slowed down is Vincent in second position. The gap now 4.7 seconds. We're coming up to what looks like it could be the final lap. Levitius takes a deep breath now, and I'm sure his strategist is watching on as well, as here comes the rest of the drivers down. Here comes Vincent with 4.2 seconds between them.
4.2 should be enough, isn't it? I think. But I mean, he's gonna. It's only gonna be. We're on the final lap of the race. He's got 4.4. He was losing around 3 seconds a lap. He might win this by just over a second, which is mad, isn't it? All those combinations of different strategies, all these different pit windows, all these different tire compounds, and then they all converge, and it's like, no, I won by just over a second.
while the top three are on the last lap. The classification for the rest of the guys has already been sorted. Dino, our championship leader, finds himself in a respectable 4th place, but the top 3 guys are still fighting it out. Well, speaking of fighting, it's definitely Levitius, and there is Levitius now. Vincent within striking distance. The sights have been set as they make their way down the main straight. DMR looking on. Levitius smiles to himself on his stream over there as he goes through the tunnel section now. Needs to get refocused for the hard braking zone. 6% fuel left he's got. That should be enough. He's got only enough tires left. And now the final push with 3.8 seconds in hand.
Yeah, it's been a great drive. Vincent's been magnificent in this final stint, but it's just not quite been enough. He needed that 148 fast lap of the race every lap, really, and that's a lot of pressure to put yourself under. Levitius did all the hard work at the start of this race, and he's managed the gap to absolute perfection as he comes towards the final sector of this race with 3 seconds still in the lead.
You're so right, Dan. He managed this so well as he goes through the final couple of corners. Now he takes a deep breath, does Levitius, and Levitius makes his way with almost no fuel. There goes Vincent. Levitius crosses the line. DMR takes 2nd, 3rd, and 4th with Vincent in 2nd place. Levitius punches the air. He looks ecstatic on stream, loving it. A big sigh of relief from him there as he crosses the line. And what a finish from Levitius there. Gets 1st place, Vincent gets 2nd, Mocker gets 3rd, Dino gets 4th, and what an incredible turn of events. And once again, Dan, these guys have not disappointed as we now cut to a short commercial break, and we'll be right back with those official results after this. Wow, what an exciting race. Liam Pisanello gets the top spot, and I'm watching his stream now, and the guys are absolutely loving it. Vincent Null gets 2nd place. Stefan Mocker gets 3rd. A hotly contested 2nd and 3rd place there, Dan. Dino, unfortunately, just losing pace at the end there, slipping all the way down. But geez, man, what a race. And this is what we've come to expect from the ATK Pro Series, but more so, this is what we've come to expect from the ATK Pro Series Gran Turismo Edition.
Yeah, always exciting. I mean, you see 16 seconds and in ACC you're long gone, aren't you? But here it's only just enough. I mean, it was just enough by a couple of seconds. DMRE guys all worked together. I think Dino actually just dropped back on purpose on the last lap to let Stefan Mocker through for a 3rd position in the championship. But Vincent now was awesome in that final stint, wasn't he? Absolutely immense on the soft tire. He just needed a 45-minute race instead of a 40-minute one.
But this is the thing when it comes to strategy, though. It gets exponentially more difficult the more drivers you deal with, because every strategy is designed to combat the other strategy. You're not just fighting yourself, you're also fighting the other cars. If it was just for time, it's a different story. But these guys sometimes, as we saw now with 2nd, 3rd, and 4th place, they end up on circuit having to deal with each other. Luckily, that team was the same team, and that's the Deadman Racing team, of course. But someone like Liam Pisanello out there fighting on his own, it still takes the win. That's got to be said. It's an impressive drive from Liam Pisanello.
Yeah, on solo as well. When you've got a whole team hunting you down and they've tried every which strategy and they've started and they split their tyres out for each driver, I mean, that's a lot of pressure to put on yourself, isn't it? And you're the lonesome at the front. And but it was a class drive. He had a great pole position, probably crucial for him. and then he just ran it from the front and just managed his strategy perfectly. Didn't have to worry about anyone else. It was just all about his fastest 40 minutes.
Yeah, and of course, a couple of honorable mentions over there. Supermanny doing well, Henny doing well as well. Nice to see Steel in the mix as well. For the first time we see him here in this division. A respectable showing from him, but it's so difficult to mix it up with these guys. You just want to kind of gauge yourself, I'm sure, is what he managed to do today. So lots and lots of respect shown with these drivers. Some good clean racing as well. There are not too many crazy incidents today.
Always. These guys are very clean, aren't they? That's the only disappointment. Maybe we can have a bit more argy-bargy next time for these guys.
Yeah, I'm sure that can be arranged. But what can also be arranged is the first of our interviews. And we've got Stefan Mocker, previous current title contender, but previous championship leader. Stefan Mocker, a lot happened out there today. You ended up on the podium. Tell us about those final couple of laps there. Was your team playing together, and were you guys playing nicely with each other?
Hi, good evening, everybody. It was an awesome race, and the last couple of laps was so intense with the fuel running out, tire grip absolutely nowhere in the cold. It was an awesome couple of laps.
I love it. Tell us more about that in detail, those final laps. Walk us through what happened with your fuel, what happened with your tires, and why did you end up there? And also, what is your strategy in relation to your teammates?
Well, basically, we all decided our own strat. I actually intended to start my stint on mediums, but when we reset to the grid, I was on softs, unfortunately. But we made the best of what we could. It was you were either fuel saving or tire saving or both, depending on what tire you were. But it was an intense, very difficult race, but very enjoyable.
And does the fuel saving get a bit stressful? We see a few guys came into the pit stop and it literally allocated 0 liters, like literally 0. I mean, surely that's a bit stressful to manage in that final lap, as you're thinking, am I actually going to make it? Because you can be made to look a bit of a fool if you run out.
Oh, absolutely. You have to calculate your fuel usage every single lap or every single half lap and see what percentage you've got left to monitor it, because it's so easy to, use more than you're supposed to. Just glad we made it. I actually ran out on the back straight. I ran out of fuel on the last lap. About 100 before the yeah, so it was really tight.
You guys cut it too close, but sometimes, as we say, sometimes you're the hammer, sometimes you're the nail, and you didn't run out of fuel. In fact, what did happen, you ran onto the 3rd place podium. A fantastic performance, as always. Stefan Mocker, 3rd in the championship. Currently, that could change soon, but we look forward to seeing how the rest of your season goes. Congratulations once again on 3rd place.
Thank you very much, and I just quickly want to say congratulations to Liam. He had a super drive. He was so fast today, and then to Vincent as well. 15-year-old, and he is absolutely flying. Big future for these two drivers. Congratulations to them.
Sheesh, Vincent, now our 2nd place man, just 15 years of age. We'd love to see if we can get him into the podium room with us over here. And yes, we do. Vincent is on his way. So that was Stefan Mocker, our 3rd place man. Also, DMR seems to be recruiting some fast drivers there, Dan.
They've cornered the marker a little bit, haven't they? And they've cornered some very, very quick guys. Vincent now is going to join us now and chat. And he a pretty awesome final stint there from Vincent. Set the fastest lap of the race with the 148 as well. If he's unmuted himself, I'm just going to ask him how that final stint was for him. And did you ever think, Vincent, that the win was on?
Yeah, I've pushed like crazy to try catch limits. It's really quick.
Vincent, you're just 15 years old. I mean, come on, man. My maths is not even this good to be able to work out this kind of strategy. How did you come up with this strategy? You needed half a lap, you would have had him. Next time, I'm sure you will. And now you find yourself right up on top of the championship standings. I mean, tell us about your journey in Gran Turismo and how long you've been doing this. And tell us about those last couple of laps as well.
Yeah, well, I've been playing Gran Turismo since last year, about August, maybe June. Yeah, in the first stint I made a few mistakes and then lost a few seconds to Levitius. And then in my middle stint was quite good on the hards, so I was very consistent. But then it just wasn't enough laps at the end to catch him.
Yeah, that's unfortunately how it goes sometimes. Dan, with regard to Vincent now, any questions from your side?
Yeah, I just want to congratulate him on an amazing last stint. I mean, I saw Liam he had a 16-second gap when the sort of final pit windows were over, and I'm like, nah, that's just miles. I mean, he's just cruising. And I think he got him sweating at the end there, Vincent. So congratulations to you on a very well-earned second place. You're the fastest in your team for sure. Stefan Mocker was praising you just now. So I think we can expect more from you. Looking forward to the next rounds. I mean, are they tracks that suit you?
Yeah, well, Nürburgring, I don't know, quite a tough one. Probably gonna use that one as my drop round. But yeah,
well, Vincent, I think humility is definitely something that you've been blessed with, as well as incredible pace. We look forward to seeing how you're doing in the rest of the championship. And it's always good to see young up-and-coming talent grow into the sport and find their feet. We look forward to seeing what you can do in the future. Thanks once again for joining us, and fantastic result. Congratulations on second place.
Yeah, thanks. Also just want to say well done to Stefan and Dean as well. He came on like 2 hours before the race and then managed to keep up with me. So well done to them. So
yeah, go team Dead Men Racing. Top, second and third, also fourth, but right at the top of that podium step is Liam Pisanello, the man that also finds himself fighting for the championship all of a sudden. Liam, I was watching your Twitch stream, brother. Yes, you're an entertaining guy to watch, eh?
Hey, man, I appreciate it, man. Hey, it was crazy, man. I just put my head down and just absolutely just sent it. Like, except for the last lap of every stint, it was a bit sketchy on the tires, but yeah, it was really, really good. It was really good.
So you went for a strategy call that meant that you were just going to blast it at the start and build enough of a gap and then sort of just hold it to the end. Be honest, were you a little bit stressed in that last stint? Do you think you get hunted down?
To be honest with you, right, the only thing I was actually worrying about per se was at the lighting, because in the practice, right, there wasn't any delay from with qualifying included, so it was very sunny until maybe the last 2 laps, but we had to do 5 laps in the dark, which was pretty tricky. But in terms of the strategy itself though, medium tires I thought were the best to start on full fuel, and softs, if you start on softs, you're going to burn out those tires in 5 laps, and I managed to do 6 in the middle stint, which is extra lap on a faster tire. And then I chose hards to have the less fuel and do less laps on, because they are inherently the slower tire, which paid off. But yeah, it was all going to plan. I was doing the lap times I needed to do, and I only made 1 mistake, and then that was it. Yeah, Vincent, I feel like sorry, I'm saying one more thing, is that Vincent pulled out, made a mistake in the second to last lap of my stint, and he basically, I just managed to pull out that gap that finished the race in, so it was it was all under control. You know, it was really...
You can say that now.
Liam,
Hey,
you know, I'm sorry to interrupt you there. I've got it. This is not for you, okay?
Yeah.
There's some other guy that's talking in your stream, okay? I feel like he's one of the unsung heroes here. Who is that guy?
That guy, his name is Drofter. He's a big chummy of mine from the UK. Yeah, he helped me out with the just keep me calm throughout the race, and also helped me with the strategy. He was an absolute legend. Shout out to you, Joff. Shout out to you, bro.
Now I could see you guys. I could see you guys have a solid team going on there, and it's important to be able to keep your driver calm, keep your driver composed, and that's exactly what you did. Because I cut over to your stream a couple times, and man, to be in the lead of a race like that's a lot of pressure, eh?
It is, because the last race, obviously, I pulled the Charles Leclerc, spun out the race, which was very, very bad. So I felt like I could have won that race, but I still got a P2 in the end, so it was solid. But this just reinforces that I can actually do it now, stay in the lead, not make a mistake, which is great. And yeah, I'm just extremely, extremely hyped now from that, because now my base 2 tracks are coming up. I can't wait for that. Those 2 tracks. Daytona, Nordschleife, I'll have that every day, man. I'll have it every day.
Well, before I hand back over to Dan, I think we can keep you. There's a lot to talk about here. Can we get those championship standings up? Because I think this is critical at this stage, Liam. I want to have a look at this championship standings and see where you sit. You're now currently in 3rd place, 9 points behind Dean. I mean, this is excluding the dropped rounds, of course.
Yeah, and I really have a specific round that I will drop, Fuji. So it's it's looking good, but we still have to keep going, you know. Yeah, it's pretty.
Yeah, from your side, obviously, the confidence going into the rest of the season, and it's important as a driver, and I'm sure your engineer will agree on this. I love that aspect of motorsport, the mental aspect, and it's important as a driver to kind of put that in the past, put that spin in the past. And I mean, you've done that in such an emphatic way today, isn't it?
Yeah, to be honest with you, the only thing I'm prioritized doing is that this track is rear right limited. So every like long left-hander, instead of maybe using a little bit extra of your tire, I just made sure to save that. And Joff was also making sure, save the tire, do a later apex, put less stress on the tires so we can get them going an extra lap. Just it worked out. Yeah, it just the synergy was great. It was really good. Yeah.
Dan, anything from your side? You were talking earlier on about the tire strategy and how these guys are saving tires. I mean, Dan, you just heard there now. It's about getting even down to the apex and exit.
Yeah, I mean, I hold my hands up. I'm new to Gran Turismo, but it blows my mind you guys managed to work out in your head the fuel strategy calls, the tire strategy calls, and the fact that every one of these races comes down to literally 1 or 2 seconds at the final round.
It's insane.
It's nuts. As a PC driver, I think that's absolutely crazy. I was going to ask you how you thought about your next 2 rounds. Are you confident? You've already answered that, and you're up in the top
Daytona,
3 already.
Yeah.
Daytona, it's sort of similar style to this, really, isn't it? Nice big wide banking corners. I'm the top 3. We're going to be seeing you at the ATK arena pretty soon, I think, Levitius. You're looking forward to it.
That's cool. I've been there before when I was I think it was like a few years ago. Yeah, it would be great to go there again. Yeah, be really great.
Well, as you mentioned, here we go. Here's the drop round standings. Now Liam finds himself in second position.
Well, that's
second
great.
position, yeah. So things are only 3 points behind Dean. And your engineer mentioned if we don't come away with a win at the next round, he's gonna quit. So good luck. And good luck for the final round if you don't win the next one. But what a fantastic performance. It's been a pleasure chatting to you, watching your stream. I hope more of the guys will jump on stream so that we can sort of catch up with you guys and see what you guys are doing during the race. It's always fun to watch. But congratulations on the win. I'm sure this won't be the last time we'll be chatting. And good luck for the rest of the season, man.
Thank you, Ren.
Yeah, that was Liam Pisanello. We saw him lead before, we saw him spin. But this time, cool as a cucumber, crosses the line in first place after all that pressure from the entire DMR team right behind him. Liam Pisanello finds himself on the top spot. Dan, what a race, what a day. What a day to go racing.
Yeah, brilliant. And a great drive from Liam. And he's only 3 points back with the drop round, and he's going into his favourite track in Daytona. He could win this thing, eh? Overall standings. That would be quite impressive. So we'll see how we get on at Daytona International, a track I'm very familiar with. So I'm looking forward to that one.
Oh, yes, indeed. The racing continues in the ATK Pro Series. And of course, you can watch us on other sims as well. We've got the Assetto Corsa legs and others. We've also got the Race of Champions later on in the year, but more about that later on. But for now, this is it for us here from the ATK Pro Series Gran Turismo edition. My name is Ernest Page, and as you can see our sponsors further on the screen over there. Be sure to support those sponsors, because without them, this wouldn't be possible. Now, of course, Mercedes-Benz backing sim racing in South Africa. This is a one-make series, and today I was joined. Thankfully, I wasn't alone this time. Dan was back from his vacation in the Bahamas or whichever exotic location you went to, Dan. Welcome back. Glad to have you back, my friend.
Yeah, it was great, and I was sad to miss the last one because I did see the finish, and that was just insane. And we got another one here, and we got this championship is just setting itself up nicely for an epic climax of the final 2 rounds. So it's not something you want to miss as we move on to eventually the finals at the ATK Arena, which is going to be epic to join the PlayStation guys up with the PC Master Race team.
Well, yeah, I look forward to seeing what happens next. And Gran Turismo has really proven to be one of the most exciting platforms to watch racing on. Who'd have thought, Dan? I know if you ask any of the purists, they'll tell you that it's in fact one of the other sims. But man, Trial Mountain certainly did deliver today.
Yeah, no way. I'm a massive convert. I really have. I take everything back that I've ever said bad about Gran Turismo. I really do. I've got a massive respect for all the drivers. The skill that they've shown is apparent for everyone, and I'm pretty sure they'll be pretty quick in ACC as well.
Yeah, well, we've got off factor to choose from. We've got ACC to choose from. Round 5 will be Daytona International Speedway on Gran Turismo. And then finally, the drivers will head to the Nordschleife with a 24-hour layout later on in the year. And as mentioned, my name is Ernest Page, joined by Daniel Hayes. And this is the ATK Pro Series powered by Mercedes-Benz. And we'll see you guys at round 5. Until then, stay tuned for updates on our socials. And we'll see you at Daytona.
Welcome to Africa's first ROG arena. Woo!